Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here on the show, and I'm here to talk about some more NFL news. Jesus. This is my second NFL news of the day. I talked about one earlier today about 7-minute video. There wasn't much news early in the day. I wanted to get that out before college football. We have a lot more stuff to talk about here. A lot of news from Dolph Cleveland. So, first thing I'll talk about is Purdy Report. Hashtag Jets 4-time Pro Bowl running back Dalvin Cook is available in the trade market. Out of the deadline, Purdy and Mercedes pass rusher Carl Lawson is also available. Cook's usage has been decreasing over the course of the year as Breece Hall has gotten healthier. He's playing much better than Dalvin Cook at this point. And this goes back to a report from last week where they said they're willing to trade Carl Lawson and even open the trade block for Dalvin Cook. I don't know. Dalvin Cook's kind of been disappointing. Like some of the people you got, like Mecole Hardman, you never really gave him a chance. And then they just traded him away back to the Chiefs. Dalvin Cook was definitely a disappointment. I feel like it had a lot to do with Rodgers getting injured, if I'm not mistaken. I think Rodgers likes running backs that can catch. I think Hardman was simply being outplayed by Gibson, who's on a rookie contract. So that's maybe why he didn't get much of a chance. But yeah, they're off-season pickups. But I don't think anyone's trading for that $7 million dust ball at this point. Well, I still don't understand why they paid him in the first place. Yes, Breece was recovering from ACL, but you also had Michael Carter and Abanconda. Not to mention you had Zonovan Knight. So I don't understand why they got him if they're just gonna trade him at the deadline, maybe. But no one wants an aging running back that's averaging like 2 yards a carry. Sorry. Yeah, there's really all to say about that. Per report, NFL teams have called the hashtag Cardinals about trading for speedy wide receiver Marquise Hollywood Brown ahead of the trade deadline, but the team isn't looking to move him, per DM Mercedes. Quote, Brown is both healthy and productive right now and looks to be part of this team's future. I know people will probably say, oh, they should trade him, but he's been a legit wide receiver one, and will only play better when I think Kyler Murray returns. And like, he's a young player and fits their timeline perfectly what they're doing. But he is also a free agent this year, and I feel like it'd be the most Cardinals thing to not re-sign him. But he's a low tier 2, low like wide receiver 1, or high end wide receiver 2. And I think he's a high end wide receiver 2. I think his impact would be maximized further if he wasn't the only one threatening the defense. But this season he's constantly getting open, especially using his speed, but the QB just can't find him. But they got some good young receivers. They have like Michael Wilson, I think. They have some good young talented wide receivers. I don't know why you trade away Marcus Brown. I'd shut teams down too. Per report, the hashtag Commanders have made trade calls to, quote, take the departure of the market for Dens, Chase Young, and Montez Sweat, per DM Rossini. Deanna adds that the current sense is that one of them will be on the move if Washington get the proper compensation. They have 7.5 sacks this season between the two players. So another rumor here is that they could either trade Chase Young or Montez Sweat. I know people will be like, oh, Chase Young's been like a disappointment, but I know the injury's been part of it, but he's been healthy this year, and he's been a beast. It's like people haven't watched him this year. He's played well this year. He's in top 5 in every stat that makes a DN an All-Pro. The only reason people say that he's been a disappointment is because of injuries, but he's been healthy this year and he's been a beast. But teams can always use pass rush help, and I think you could get some good trade value. But I don't think they can lose Montez Sweat. But honestly, if you're the Commanders, you should only take a first-round pick. You should at least take a first-round pick. If it's anything less than a first-round pick, you don't trade them. Because you don't just trade one of those players like that for like a second-round pick and other picks, whatever. So, per report, the hashtag, Broncos will listen to trade offers on, quote, every player. Multiple people with the team told DM Rossini. Deanna also adds, to, quote, look for them to move pieces on the defensive side of the ball. She adds that despite that, the team is not having a fire sale despite their 1-5 record. Well, they don't really have many good players to trade defensively. Like, they're not going to trade Patrick Surtain. They don't really have many good players to trade defensively. Maybe Justin Simmons, but other than that, I don't know who else you could trade defensively. So now we get to the Browns. The hashtag Browns have made trade calls as both buyers and sellers. They're looking to possibly add a wide receiver and an offensive lineman. Per DM Mercedes, she has they're looking for, quote, affordable options. I mean, I know people say, oh, Jerry Jeudy, but I don't know what the obsession is with Jerry Jeudy in trade talks. Like, he's dramatic, he's injured a lot, doesn't really provide much productivity for an offense, and he's going to want a new deal soon. I just don't get it. Like, you should just try and get somebody else, because I don't think he would be it, and would help the Browns' receiving core. And at least in my opinion. I will say they have cap space, they can go all in. So, per report, the hashtag Eagles general manager Howie Roseman is, quote, working the phone, and Philly's looking to make additions on defense, specifically targeting a safety, per at DM Rossini. The Eagles suffered a number of injuries on the defensive side of the ball this season. Yeah, they have a lot of injuries defensively. I think they're going to try and work the phone and try and make some additions on defense. And I don't know what safety they can get. Maybe Justin Simmons. I can definitely see the Broncos trading him to get Justin Simmons. Maybe Jeremy Chin. I don't know. One of those two safeties is the most likely option. Per report, the hashtag Vikings received trade calls on pass rusher Danielle Hunter, per DM Rossini. Hunter leads the NFL with 8 sacks this year. None of those offers received have been, quote, substantial yet, per the report. So, teams have they've received trade calls, but none of the offers have been substantial yet to try and trade him if they wanted to. I mean, I think people want a first. Maybe they haven't offered a first rounder yet, which I only think is fair, but I don't think he'll get traded. Honestly, the only way I could see that is if a team offers a first round pick or something. Honestly. But other than that, I don't really see that happening. So, the Titans haven't received, quote, significant interest from the NFL teams for running back Derrick Henry, per DM Rossini. The team is in need for draft capital and have been getting calls about other players. So, apparently, he hasn't received significant interest from NFL teams. I mean, I know people say, oh, we ain't getting numbers like he used to. The worst offensive line in football by far is the Titans. He had 1,500 yards last year and is getting like 12 carries a game this year. If he was getting like more carries, he would put up close stats. He would put up close to those stats. The offensive line is terrible. One of the worst offensive lines in the league. He's still good. But I don't know if teams will get much draft capital. Because I feel like he's going to be on the decline in a few years. But who knows? Maybe he'll prove me wrong. And now, per report, the NFL teams have called the Titans about trading for Pro Bowl safety Kevin Byard and wide receiver 1 Treylon Burks, per DM Rossini. Specifically, they received multiple calls on Byard, and one team reached out about Burks, who was the Titans' first-round pick in the 2022 draft last year. Deanna adds, she doesn't get the sense Burks will be moved. Yeah, I don't think they're going to trade Treylon Burks. They drafted as their wide receiver 1 in the draft in 2022. I don't get the sense that Treylon Burks will be moved from the team. He's their wide receiver 1 by default. It's not just because he's their best receiver. It's by default the reason he's their wide receiver 1. But it's not like he just can't stay healthy or do anything consistently. Mate, if I was the Titans, I would think about trading him. I would keep Kevin Byard. I wouldn't trade him away. He's one of their best defensive players. Per report, now we talk about Saquon Barkley. The hashtag Giants aren't planning on trading running back Saquon Barkley, according to DM Rossini. Barkley recently expressed he isn't interested in getting moved and wishes to stay in New York. Well, he's their whole offense, but I don't know. I would think about moving them. Honestly. Update. The hashtag Rams are placing running back Kyron Williams on injured reserve per Adam Schefter. He'll be eligible to return in week 12, so he's going to miss 4 games. That's a bummer, because he was really good the first few weeks he played. So that's a bummer. So Steelers linebacker Quan Alexander believes the NFL will literally become flag football in 3 to 4 years. I had spoken to someone from the league offices in 2016 who told me then he thought the league would move to flag in 10 to 15 years. It sounds like financial suicide, but with the direction the tackle rules are going, I'm starting to believe it. They're making it real hard for us. I don't really know what the game is coming to for real. I don't know how to stop from tackling someone around the waist. I give it about 3 or 4 years and they're going to go to flag football. How else are you going to tackle? If that happened, man, that would make a lot of people tune out from watching that. The physicality is what makes football. I'm not going to watch flag football. That would kill the game. Like, nobody would watch that. I'm sorry. So, an update. Hashtag Bears QB Justin Fields is not only out for week 7 against the Raiders, he's expected to miss multiple games. A source tells J. Jones 9. Tyson Bagent should get more than one start to show what he can do. So he's going to get more than one game to see how he does. So, yeah, Justin Fields out for multiple weeks. Update. Ravens wide receiver Odell Beckham was fined $33,317 for 2 unnecessary roughness violations during the hashtag Titans game and fined Titans defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons $11,473 for unnecessary roughness in last week's game, according to Tom Pelissero. Jeffrey Simmons is a bum. Ravens safety Colin Hamilton was fined $20,524 for unnecessary roughness regarding his helmet-to-helmet hit against the Titans. He was ejected from that game. Seems like a legitimate fine. He launched with his helmet. So, I think it's a clear fine. Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf was fined $16,391 for unnecessary roughness during the Bengals game, per J. Jones 9. DK was fined a total of $65,563 through 6 games this season for 4 different on-field infractions. And he didn't just push him. It was the most unnecessary thing to do. He should really get suspended, to be honest, if you're asking me. He's had multiple incidents like this. Per report, Giants QB Daniel Jones is considered a long shot to play against the Commanders on Week 7 per J. ESPN. So it looks like Daniel Jones ain't going to play Week 7 either. Chiefs safety Mike Edwards was fined $16,391 for a hit on QB Russell Wilson. I don't know why he was fined for it. It's just a soft league. Like, what was he supposed to do? He went untouched and his mid died before Wilson, released the ball. It's like, what are we doing here? Why is he getting fined for, hitting the quarterback? Update. Rob Gronkowski signs a multi-year deal to have his own bowl game. The LA Bowl announced they will now be named the LA Bowl, hosted by Gronk. He was praising Jimmy Kimmel for the road. Gronk said Jimmy was a fantastic host and brought a lot of elements to the game, but then my turn's going to turn up, that's for sure. And that's hilarious. It's going to now be called the LA Bowl, hosted by Gronk. The Broncos will place tight end Greg Dulwich on injured reserve. So he's back on injured reserve again. That dude can't stay healthy this year. Breaking wide receiver Deebo Samuel for the 49ers has a hairline fracture of his shoulder and will miss at least 2 games per the team. So he's only going to be out for 2 games. It's a very serious injury, but he's only going to be out for 2 games. Eagles defensive end Josh Sweat was fined $16,391 for this hit on Jets QB Zach Wilson. Wasn't flagged during the game. I mean, you can't dive into the quarterback's legs. But he didn't really touch him that bad, though. It's like you can't even try and tackle anymore. Deshaun Watson is expected to start against the hashtag Colts on Week 7 per Rap Sheet. Tom Pelissero and Mike Garofalo update the Browns quarterback is expected to start. So after missing after the last game, he's going to be back this week. The Eagles will make some changes for their field for tomorrow's game against the Titans. So, yeah, there's that. Per report, the Titans are preparing both rookie QB Will Levis and quarterback Malik Wilson stars Ryan Tannehill's unable to play due to his injury week against the Falcons per rap sheet. It isn't clear who would actually at the start. The Titans have a bye on week 7. I'd try Will Levis. We haven't seen too much of him yet, so I'd rather see Will Levis play. But we'll see. But yeah, that's all for the NFL news. So until next time, peace.